Well, moving on here in our daily program, we've got member showcase coming up here, and I see it's popping up for me here. Missionaire Support Services. And you guys will recognize the guy on the right, Terry Montambo. If you've been to Oshkosh, he's very involved in support up there and helping us up there at Oshkosh and the EAA program up there. So Terry has started a new mission group called Missionaire Support Services. You need all four words because there's been other missionaires in the past or even currently, but he's going to share with us what's going on there, and looking forward to hearing from Terry. So let's roll the video.
Hi, I'm Terry Montambo with Missionaire Support Services.
And I'm William Hodge with Great Commission United.
I want to talk to you today about how did Missionaire come about. Missionaire Support Services, it's in the name. And we currently are comprised of GCU chaplains.
Absolutely.
I think it all started first with GCU. I remember getting a call from our pastor up north in Montague said, "Hey, Terry, come on up to a class today.
Right.
We're having a chaplain's class." And you were the one that was bringing that chaplain's class up to us.
Absolutely. It was called by Gary Kazicki to bring the chaplaincy program to Montague, Michigan. And I agreed. And so we brought it to Montague, Michigan to train up some of his chaplains to go out into the highways and the byways. And you were at that class.
Well, you know, before that class came about, I had a dream of all things that we were flying supplies into a northern branch. I don't know where the location was. I remember offloading stuff off an airplane and looking on the tail of that airplane in my dream. And I remember seeing a logo on the tail. And a month later, sitting in that class, never knew this guy. This is the first time we met. And there was the logo. And I about fell off my stool in the back, went up at the end of the class and told Bill, you know, what I'd seen. So obviously the Lord was saying there's something to this here. And it's an amazing story, you know, as we unfold it here today, what happened.
Great Commission United is a chaplaincy program that has been training chaplains for over 20 years throughout the world. And to have the aviation component now introduced to the ministry really allows our chaplains, the boots on the ground, to get into places that possibly they couldn't get to before. Also, it gives us an opportunity to take the gospel to various places here local, as a local missionary, to bring the gospel and salvation, healing, and whatever it is that the Lord would have us do. And you're going to talk a little bit about some incredible trips that Missionaire has been involved in for GCU.
And that's true. And you know, these guys here, you've met most of them, if not all of them.
Right.
You met us at Oshkosh, and our chaplaincy went to Oshkosh and it served there. And it was through that was where we really saw the need to have aircraft. So we came back home from serving at Oshkosh and start praying and asking the Lord, how can this thing all come about? Well, what happened? We went in with Tim and Lori Lane, Pilots for Christ, and we seen them at one of the pancake events there down in Fremont, Michigan, and they prayed with us. And as it turns out, we ended up linking our chaplaincy organization together with Pilots for Christ, and they became chaplains.
Absolutely.
And as we talked and grew together, our chaplains began to go on the flights.
It's been incredible. What a beautiful union this has been.
It's been, and it's like every step of the way the Lord is transitioning us. So here we go. Now we're on the flights. Our chaplains are able to fly with the people that were taken to Mayo Clinic, to Cleveland Clinic. And it's just wonderful to have somebody in the back seat with those people so the pilots don't have to be thinking about that. And so we did that. And
not only just that, but again, having classes, we had to do a criminal justice class for some police chaplains over Wisconsin. And so we were able to fly over.
Yes, we were. And that was our first flight.
Yes, it was.
And, you know, normally for us to drive over to Wisconsin, it's about a 7 to 8 hour trip. And I can remember us getting on at Aztec. It was 8:15, I think, in the morning.
Yes.
And I think we took off, you know, right around 8:30, and we arrived in Oshkosh at 8:30 in the morning that morning. Did our class all day. Of course, got an hour change there.
Yeah.
And turned around and we came back home that night, totally refreshed, had done a class, was back home, didn't have to do all that driving. It was an amazing thing that happened. The Lord had shown us the beauty of having an aviation component for GCU. So that's kind of how the thing came about. And then going forward, of course, it all unfolds. And I want to take you to a slideshow and just let us talk around that and just show you some pictures of some of the things that the Lord is doing with us today. And it's really exciting. So Bill, Missionary Support Service was created spreading the gospel through air support to ministries abroad. And of course, GCU, the Great Commission United, came about, and we united our chaplains together with Pilots for Christ. At first, we started to see the Lord expanding us in what we were doing, and that was our first flight there. As we went on to Wisconsin,
absolutely,
we came back. That's kind of where things really started.
There's one of our other chaplains, Tim. So went on, just went to hang along with us.
Yes,
it was wonderful. It was great.
Yes, he did. So then we had one of our chaplains, Ellen and Brian. There was a class that we did down in Holland. Became chaplains. They lived here. And they felt the Lord calling them to move up into the UP. So they found a house up in Trout Lake area.
Well, you know, that had been the Lord, because to go up to the UP, you have to be called.
And they'd never even been up there before.
No.
So Ellen and Brian got themselves established up there, and the Lord gave them the name of a ministry. They wanted to call it the Healing Loft. Ellen calls us. I remember the day she called us and says, "Can you guys help us get this ministry started? We have a desire to take care of the UP." Now, we've been praying for the UP for going on
a long time,
2 or 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
So this was what the Lord obviously wanted to use. So we started, Ellen wanted to raise money for coats. She had made a contact in Marquette, Michigan. The money started to come in. We hooked up with vendors and we started buying brand new coats. So we ended up getting a full load. We had over 100 coats and hats and gloves all boxed up, and I'm thinking to myself, how are we going to get there? Marquette's a long drive. It's a 3-day deal by the time you spend the night. Well, the Lord gave me the thought, give Terry Yoder a call over at SMAT and ask them if they might be interested in making a mission run. I gave Terry a call. He says, "Why not? Let's do it." He said, "Call Steve Van Beveren and get it set up." We did that. Here's a picture of Steve here, and Case is in that picture. That's one of the gentlemen that's building time in the 206. So them guys flew down to Fremont, and I met them out there with all the goods, and we packed them into that 206, and off they went up to Marquette, Michigan. There's a picture of Case and the gal up there with her ministry. She took all these goods and she put them inside of her ministry, and people started to come in at no charge and receiving brand new coats and hats. They were very, very blessed. And we got done with that. Then the next event kind of came about. In fact, I think what happened was somebody offered us fresh meat that was frozen, 2,500 pounds.
Correct.
And we realized that there wasn't an airplane that we had that could carry that much weight with coats and everything. So GCU says, hey,
let's get our chaplain cadets together and do our first missionary work up to the Sioux, and go up to Trout Lake where Brian and Ellen are, and go visit them, and then take all of this meat, all these coats and jackets up to a ministry up there that takes care of the Sioux people up in Sault Ste. Marie. So our chaplain cadets all piled in to our vehicles, and we went up to the Sioux, and they were ready for us.
And this was the church where we unloaded the stuff. And you can see Ellen on the right there, her husband on the left, and then the rest of us guys were chaplains there that had driven up. And they were so blessed. They were so blessed. We come away so excited seeing our young chaplains involved in this effort. We got back home. Ellen calls up and says, "I've got another connection." She said, Escanaba, Michigan. She said they are in great need over there. So the Lord began to supply coats. And once again, they kept coming in and coming in. As you can see here, pretty good load. This is in the Pilots for Christ hangar. We had Oh gosh, we had the Aztec there, right packed, right to the max. Well, here's a little story with this one here. Brian broke his front tooth off. Called us up and said, "You got to pray for me. My front tooth's broke off. I got no means to do anything up here." I said, "Okay, Brian, we'll do that." The next day, a friend of mine was over here and he says, "I know a retired doctor. His name is Dr. Moeller." And so we called Doc Moeller. Doc says, "Absolutely." He says, "I love doing mission work. Have them guys come down here and we'll take care of it." Called Ellen and Brian back up, give them the good news, set them guys up to get together. The doc says, "So where are you guys going?" I says, "Well, we're flying a load up to Escanaba." He says, "Oh, I was hunting up there this year." And he says, "I didn't shoot anything, but when I was leaving deer camp, I hit an 8-point buck and smashed my truck all up." He said, "They just called me from the body shop and said it's all done. So I got to figure out how to get up there." Says, "Doc, let me call you back." So I called Tim Lane at Pilots for Christ, and Tim says, "Absolutely, let's fly him up there with the load. We'll drop him off, and then we'll come back home." So we did it. We left a little spot in the Aztec for a 175-pound doctor to sit back there, and we made that flight up there, and it was awesome. So going forward again, you can see here, this next picture is where a lot of these coats come from is B2 Industries. It's a supply company. It's called Blessed Twice. You get blessed when you go in, you buy coats at a reduced rate. You get blessed a second time because they invest in mission organizations. And they became our sole provider for coats. So again, Ellen calls us up and says, Iron River, Michigan needs a load of coats. And the Lord provided the money. We went to B2 outlets. They supplied us with everything. And this time we learned a lesson. Instead of using cardboard boxes, I know you guys probably caught that early on, but we put everything in plastic bags, which made it much easier to pack that 206. You're only looking at about a 200-pound load of clothes there. And by the time you pack that airplane full, you don't have any room for anything. So they flew up to Iron River, Michigan. And then we got a call just before that flight from Mark. A friend of mine had a snowmobile accident up on Lake Ogibic in Ironwood. Mark flew off his snowmobile going 100 miles an hour, rolled across the ice. He broke ribs. He cracked vertebrae. He tore ligaments, ended up in Ironwood Hospital, was up there for a week. And he calls us and says, "Terry, I need to get home and I can't drive. I need to fly." So I called Steve Bever and talked to him about it. Steve says, "Yeah, we can do that." So we took, and them guys went up and dropped that load off in Iron River, Michigan, proceeded on up to Ironwood. We loaded Mark up here in the back of that 206, brought him back here, and we got Mark home, and he's healing. Mark's back on his feet now, recuperating and doing very well. But, you know, Bill, it's just an amazing thing to see what the Lord has done. And you got to ask yourself, what is he going to do next? Where is he going to go next with this? So
Absolutely. And one of the neatest things about how all of this, just the taking of the coats and the hats and the gloves to the UP, one of the beautiful things is there's so much ministry that goes with it. So that's beautiful. And so, yes, we say to be continued.
it's exciting. It's exciting to see what the Lord is doing. We are now working on our 5th load. This next load is going up to Ironwood. And we are going to have that together probably within a week. Talk to Steve. The 206 will be making that run again.
Excellent.
So, we're going to be done running coats up to the UP. So
Right.
This is going to be that phase is going to end. So now we're going to be back looking at getting some more classes going in some of these other locations.
Absolutely. And we're finding that, pilots make great chaplains. And it's, a lot of the pilots that are flying don't necessarily get a chance to interact on the ground. And, as Great Commission United, we provide that training for pilots and for those that are learning to fly to become chaplains in their gift and their calling. Like one of the examples we didn't talk about is that one of the SMAT classmates she was a nurse.
Yes.
She was an RN.
Yes.
And she was able to be there with Mark sitting in the back and
Now, who
comforting him.
orchestrated that?
Yeah,
Tell me
let's
that.
probably God, huh? Maybe.
I know.
So, I mean, in all mission field, being a missionary, and I've been all over the world, to be able to minister in our own backyard is absolutely incredible. We've got got several chaplains down in Texas, which we believe we're about ready to start a missions aviation mission program
Yes.
down there in
Yes.
the San Angelo area. We're in Florida. We're Georgia. We're all over Alabama now. We're all over the Michigan
Right.
and Wisconsin now. So I believe that we are on the verge of seeing Mission Air provide more services, not only for GCU, Pause for Christ,
Yes.
or IAMA, but for all of you
Mhm.
missionary pilots to be able to get involved in a more united fashion.
You know, what's exciting too is last night we had a meeting at the Pilots for Christ hangar. GCU was there, Missionaire was there.
Yeah,
And then we had a whole room full of folks, and we are talking about the need for some more aircraft.
absolutely.
Last night we prayed and we were
Yes.
asking the Lord,
Yes.
and we're realizing that this Aztec is a great airplane, but it's just not fitting the need. We talked about what were some of the airplanes?
Well, we were
prayed for? You prayed
looking
that
for
prayer, brother.
right. We were looking for a Kodiak. We were looking for a Cessna
The Caravan.
and
There was, what was the Piper?
the Navajo.
And the Navajo,
And see,
yes.
we're looking for airplanes that can open up. So in the case like
Yes.
Mark, so that Mark, it was hard to get him into the airplane. But
Yes.
if we can have more of an airplane that
Has to
opens
be
up to
that
the
way.
side, then we're able to meet the
Right.
needs of those. And the
And-
Mercy flights have been an exceptional.
Well, they have,
thing.
and some of the people struggle getting in and out of the Aztec, and Tim and I, in doing those flights, we know that, and that's where you get into a side load airplane, and it makes all the difference. So I believe the Lord's going to provide that for
Yep,
us. I
absolutely.
do. I think here this next year, we think that God is on the move with what's going on with missions. We're excited for you guys and all that you do. We know that we've all had to relook at what we do and how can we do it different. Our testimony here is everything going on within the United States, and now we can't even leave the United States.
Right. Well, now,
Isn't that
that's
funny?
prayerfully that'll change here soon.
Hopefully
But-
that's going to
But
change.
it really is the Great Commission, and the
It
Holy
is.
Spirit wants us to be united about it. And no matter what mission field we're in, it is important in this hour that the body of Christ come together in love and for the greater good and learning to
Amen.
love our neighbor.
Amen. Well, Glenn, thanks for coming up this summer. It was awesome to see you. Look forward to seeing all you guys this year at Oshkosh. We're believing that event's going to happen.
And you'll see me at the ramp.
Yeah, absolutely. Bless you guys. Take care.
Hey, thank you guys. Really appreciate that. And, the new ministry that's taken off there with you guys and using aviation to support that. And Terry mentioned, see you at EAA. Recently, we had a phone call with Jack Pelton and the Massa Group that supports us all up there. And Jack just affirmed that we are having the EAA AirVenture live in the end of July. He said they're going to do whatever it takes to comply, but we will have a live event. And there'll be some changes, I know, for all of us as we go up there and display up there. But just want to reassure everybody that, hey, that is on the docket, and we are moving forward and looking forward to being together again live.